Good evening, everybody. This is Tuesday, the 8th of October, and I'm Carol Charlton, practitioner at the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living, and it's time for Spiritual Mind Healing service, which takes place every Tuesday evening at 6. I welcome each and every one of you who has taken time out of your busy schedule to add your consciousness to this session. But as we do in everything, we begin with God. And we are grateful for this moment. We're grateful for this day and grateful for this time in which we recognize that one presence, that one power, which is God, which itself expresses in, through, and as each of us, and has brought us together this evening in a moment of contemplation, to consider truths that set free. I'm sure that the end of this session, we will all together leave with a special blessing, another insight, committed to further our journey in the direction of our magnificence. I give thanks for each person here this evening, and I give thanks for this medium as I release this word, knowing that it is already fulfilled in divine mind. I give thanks now that this is so, and so it is. So let me ask you now to take a few deep breaths. Relax. Let go. Forget about the concerns of the day. And contemplate for a minute or two this thought. My heritage is divine. Now, I invite you to open your eyes slowly. And as we come back into this space, I invite you to reason with me this evening You would have seen that the topic that I chose for this evening's consideration is relationships as our heritage. So we are now in Heritage Month, October, and at the same time, the CSL theme for this month is power to the people. So as we focus on our heritage, we're also focusing on empowering ourselves, empowering those around us to be more than they are. So in this month, the focus is on those who came before us, those whose lives were dedicated to pursuing their conviction for what then was a universal cause for the benefit of others, for their community, for the country. And we remember names such as Paul Bogle, George William Gordon, men who stood for a cause and lost their lives in the process. They took a powerful stand in the interest of the good of the society as they perceived power for the people of their time. Uh, there has been in the Gleaner for a couple of weeks. Well, I don't know how long, but I just noticed it recently. A feature called Great Jamaican Stories. And what I realize is that although we have all these heroes that we recognize, there are lots of other people whose interesting stories tell of their defiance, their stand in their conviction for a cause that ultimately was intended for the betterment of their society. They are our icons of courage and integrity, whose life work has brought the attention of the governing class to issues, to the inherent rights of the common people, and the need to change the status quo in the interest of the people. In more recent times, we have chosen to recognize these persons who fought for us, as they put it, by designating them national heroes and symbols of the qualities that our citizens should emulate. And symbolically, too, we honor the contribution of our contemporaries, whose contribution to nation building in our time is deemed exemplary in the context of their continued advancement and empowerment of our people in every sector of the society. We confer national honors on them because they answered the urge to express that spark of divinity within them, their divine heritage in their own unique ways as their life work. Sometimes not necessarily consciously, but demonstrated by the verve and the passion in which they chose to live their lives in the interest of the community. One may even say that in their own way, they established a special relationship with the populace, as evidenced by their dedication. So we're going to look at relationships this evening as an aspect of our heritage. Broadly speaking, relationships refer to the network of the linkage, the communication, the patterns of each person with another, a, a person to a group, a person to a community, and so on. And it is in and through relationships. Someone has written, I think it was Dr. Merrick Jones, that God deepens its own experience of itself. There is something within each of us that knows that this is true, and this is why we long for a deeper connection with other living beings. Now, relationships can be challenging, they're bothersome, they're necessary, though. Some are fulfilling, not so fulfilling, and they come in all shapes and forms. They show up in our lives as nice people, as not so nice people. They bring out the best in us and sometimes the worst in us. They are the products of our consciousness. All our relationships are based on commitment, companionship, intimacy, honesty, loyalty, respect, and so on. I came across an article in, I think it's in The Art of Being, authored by Dr. Dennis Merrick Jones. And the chapter is titled Relationship, Who Needs Them? And he asked the reader to play a little game with him. And I'm going to quote from him now. He says, imagine you are amazingly wealthy in every way. You have total freedom in your life. You live in a 50-room mansion. You can drive a different luxury car of your choice each day of the week. You have the most beautiful, fit, and healthy body. You're a great athlete and a genius to boot. In short, you have the best of everything on the planet. Beyond all that, you're a truly good and wonderful human being in every way. And so, asked Dr. Dennis, it all sounds perfect, doesn't it? That was the same for Adam. Remember the creation allegory and the dilemma God faced? Here's Adam in the middle of this lush abundance, surrounded by every imaginable good, clad only in his birthday suit, and no one with whom to share all this good stuff. A call for relationship. Now, you imagine yourself as the only living person on the planet without a single bus or taxi driver to move out in front of you, or even a cantankerous neighbor whose dog pays his respects on your front lawn regularly. Oh, for a relationship of whatever hue or texture. So, having all the luxuries and accoutrements that can be had is an inviting fantasy at best. But on the flip side, it's the relationships we have with family, partners, friends, co workers, strangers, politicians, people we like and those we don't like, that give texture and meaning to our existence. You know, there in Paul's letter to the Corinthians, he speaks of those who are currently of the enjoy. Sorry, he speaks of those who make a lot of noise and do all kinds of wonderful things, and yet without love, relationship, we really not say nothing. We just make up a whole heap of noise in the place virtually, you know. Um, and then I read in another um, work by Dr. Holmes, and you hear now what he says. He says no one can live unto himself. Other people are so much a part of our lives that we cannot even think of living without them. In our relationship with others, two things must happen. If we are to be happy, we must be with others, enjoy them, and act with them without in any way seeking to control their actions. So we all would, to a greater or lesser degree, like to be in agreement with those around us and would acknowledge that attempting to coerce or control other people has been the source of great conflict through the ages. Remember Jesus' injunction, you must be born again. And Dr. Holmes interprets this, you must be born of the Spirit. The new birth, he explains, in a new outlook on life, a new way of thinking, a new sense of our relationship to our environment, to the people around us, to ourselves, and to God. This is the very basis of our teaching, in fact. Change your thinking, change your life. I remember our friend Courtney in a talk some 10 years ago said of relationships, the quality of our relationships defines our relationship with God. So I pose this question for you this evening. Who needs relationships? And the answer resounds as another question. Who needs God? We begin our affirmative of prayer by acknowledging that God is and that we are its offspring, created to give expression to its magnificence. Each one of us has a claim on this divine heritage, no more or no less than the other. And again, I have to refer to Dr. Holmes. He says, we must have a firm conviction that all people live in God. And we must have a deep realization that we are all one in this universal spirit, which is God. If we do not merge with others in cooperation, in unity, and in happiness, we may be certain that there is something in us that still feels it has been rebuffed. End of quote. This is cause for healing. What Dr. Holmes terms an adjustment has to be made. Our duty is to ensure that we are adjusted to those around us, since we share a common lineage, a common heritage, and as we have seen, are no different from each other. We need each other in order to fulfill ourselves and to mirror the divine relationship we have in our source. In 1 John, we read, if a man says he loves God and hates his brother, he's a liar. For he who hath not love for his brother, who he has seen, how can he love God whom he has not seen? Remember, also, the house divided against itself cannot stand. There is an essential unity which cannot be violated, and we find this in relationships. We learn further from Dr. Holmes that if we get over the idea of trying to prescribe how others think and react, then we can enjoy healthy relationships. He says it this way, and above everything else, if we can trace our origin back to its original source, which is God, and do the same for everyone else, we shall find that we are getting along with others. God seeks to know more of its divine nature through its creation, it is said. And it does so in and through our relationships that we are able to participate in this creative activity. This is why, in the first instance, we crave relationship. It's about healing of the sense of separation with our true self. It's the knowing that we share that common heritage. And that the bottom line is, it's really about love. which is the invisible link between each of us. It's about removing that mist which clouds our vision so we see through that glass darkly. But then, coming face to face with who we are, we recognize that as sons and daughters of the Most High, we share a spiritual heritage. In that space, there is no need to be unkind, to boast, to envy, to think evil, or even be self seeking. Instead, we understand clearly who we are. We put away childish things and act with confidence as we meet the God in each other face to face, instead of peering at them through the mist of impaired vision. When we affirm I'm a divine creation, it is knowing that every other person is by right of heritage and deserves to be treated accordingly in whatever shape or form we interact with them. This knowledge can transform our relationships into the loving and meaningful experiences they are intended to be, opening us up to the sacred and holy space in which we live, move, and share our beingness in that world that works for everyone. And so this evening, I want to encourage all of us to honor and cherish our relationships as we celebrate Heritage Week. I want you to recognize that we are born of spirit and that we each share a common heritage in, through, and as God. I want you to act and to think from the knowledge that we are one with everything because we are one with God. And I encourage you to remember too, to acknowledge that we are integral to each other's growth, to affirm that we are born of love and light, to be love and light, to know that we share a common kingdom of good, a world that works for everyone, to recognize that our relationships are a gateway into understanding who and what we are in spirit, and that as we face each other, we are in fact viewing our own reflection. So, beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. So, I'm going to leave with you a little practice, mindfulness practice that Dr. Merrick Jones suggests. Make a commitment that for the next 7 days, you will honor and somehow acknowledge every relationship you are in, from your significant other to your coworkers to the server you meet next time you dine out, or the cashier in the supermarket or pharmacy or wherever. How you will do that? That's your choice. Be creative. Let that light shine through the loving kindness of words, your smiles, your hugs. And you can also try this one, which Reverend John, some years ago, introduced to us in a class. Identify 5 persons, and each day, as a ritual, send love to each of them and affirm for each as a ritual. Divine love is doing its perfect work in, through, and as you. So, as I close, I'm going to quote again from Dr. Holmes, and it begins: if people look drab and uninteresting to us, it is because of the way we look at them. If we have not received joy from others, it is because we have stifled the joy at the center of our being. Joy must go forth to meet joy. Love must go forth to meet love. all people are rooted in God. Our heritage, I will interject. And it is only as we go down to the roots of our being that we unify with others in spirit and truth. Everything that follows is a play of life upon itself. Friends, let's honor the divine heritage of our relationships in a world that works for everyone. Thank you so much for listening.
And so it is.
Hi, Carol. Yes.
So now, we can have a little discussion if anybody is minded to.
Mm. Mm.
Yes, Miss Sandy.
No, I was just you know, my sounds were coming out in alignment with what you were saying.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just confess that I had a challenge myself in thinking through this of linking our heritage, the power to the people theme, and the whole business of Heritage Week. Um, but having established that our heritage, our true heritage, is our divinity, then it's totally up to us to carve out that path that enables us to maintain good relationships with those around us and remain true to who we are in essence, sons and daughters of the Most High. Mm.
Something just came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you regarding that our heritage is our divinity. But I think too, in addition to that, the challenge we have as humans is that we also have the human heritage to process and manage the heritage of the race belief, which presents itself as contrary to what we understand our divinity to represent. And so this is where I suppose our wisdom comes in, and discernment.
Well,
to hear it and filter it and choose rightly and choose, because I guess when that whole story of Eve and the serpent, as somebody said, life is lifing, Reverend Michelle on Sunday.
yes.
Lifing. And so are we going to take it on and be affected and influenced and throw up our arms in the air and forget whose we are, and forget the power that is inherent within us?
We are always, I think, living a kind of balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are divine, and that divinity we are expressing in the context of our humanity, which um, is always throwing challenges at us. It's the same kind of challenge you face in your humanity sees shortage and lack and limitation, but your divinity says there is abundance everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There is appearance of sickness and other kinds of things, and we have to learn to recognize and to know and to stand in that space that we are inherently healthy. We are made in the image likeness of God, And from that standpoint, if only from that standpoint, we our our health is our divine heritage. So I think in every aspect of our life, actually, we have that challenge that we need to be able to look at the human side of us, and out of it stand, recognize that there is that other part of us that is really who we are, and that takes supremacy over any condition that
Sure.
comes up in front of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's relation, as Courtney says, relationships define our relationship with God. It is through that is just one prism through which we navigate this whole existence that we this whole experience that we now have and that we call our life right now. And yet we know that, oh, there is one life, and that life is God, and that it is our life. No. It's really to be able to stand in that knowledge in every moment, in every situation. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Yes, I agree with you, that last statement just now, that we have to stand in our truth. And I think also recognizing that a lot of times, when we speak about race consciousness, we speak about it as if there's something being done to us. And sometimes, it happens and we absorb it. But we are also contributors to the race consciousness.
Yes.
And that is where we have to recognize our inherent power. That it's not a soup that somebody feeding us. We add in some salt and some potato and some carrot to the soup as well.
Yes.
That's where we need to be mindful. What we add into the soup.
Yes. What is my contribution?
Exactly.
It's our daily challenge, Miss Carol.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it is always easy to get carried away in that conversation that is how bad everything is, how wicked and bad those people over there so is, how corrupt those over there so are, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But there's a way that we have to draw breaks and say, no, that really is not the kind of soup that I want to eat.
Yes. Not that I want anybody to eat,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Is there anything else, anybody? If not, we can go on to the next phase of our meeting, which would be the announcements, wouldn't it? No, sorry.
Prayer work. Prayer.
Yes, indeed. So, so are there any requests that we need to?
None coming in this end. I don't know. I don't know if there are any coming in on YouTube.
Well, I'm not going to write mine down, but I'm giving thanks for improved health, improved restoration of my mobility in my hand? I was going to say my mobility, but
in other words, your hand is walking again.
not quite. It is it's creeping.
Yes, I hear you.
And having been there and done that, I know the freedom that brings. And so in this moment, I give thanks. I give thanks that health is our divine birthright. I give thanks now that even in the face of injury, or seeming ideas of disease or discomfort, there is that within us, which is God, which comes forth in full expression, our divine heritage that expresses our wholeness and perfection in all the circumstances, that assures us that we are one with the one, that health is ours by right of being. And we stand on this premise and give thanks that God fulfills itself in and through our physical expressions as health. This is the truth that we honor in this moment. And so we give thanks that this is so now. For so it is.
And so it is. Thanks, Carol.
I'm going to do an affirmative prayer of light and illumination. God is light. That light infills us. That light is who we are. That light is that which enables us to see with clarity, to understand, to make wise decisions. Wise decisions which lead to perfect outcomes. That light is that which enables us to stand in any situation and invoke the truth that God is and that all is well. That light is that which fills the hearts and minds of our congregants. That light is that which fills that space we call the temple of light and enables it to be a beacon in our community. That light is that which attracts to the temple of light minds and hearts that are seeking to be bearers of the light in their own lives and the lives of their community, in the lives of our island home. And so we live true to our nature, our name. We are each a temple of light, gathered in the temple of light, glowing and growing in intensity in our community, in our island home. This is the truth about us. We celebrate it in this moment and give thanks for the light, that symbol of truth that glows in each heart, that enables us to see beyond appearances to the truth of our being. We give thanks now that these words are words of light that celebrate light. And so we release them to light. And we give thanks now that this is so. And we declare, and so it is.
And so it is indeed.
Anything else? Okay, I don't know that we have do we have the slides? I think Vance expressed
Yes,
some
indeed.
reservation. So would you mind sharing them now with the rest of us, please? So that we can share the announcements. Yes, so this important date, the weekend of the 8th to the 10th of November, which will mark the installation of our senior minister, beginning first with a concert on the 8th at the University Chapel. Tickets are available. The 9th is the actual event of the installation, and the 10th with that service. And our special guest that weekend is Ricky Byers, New Thought musician, singer. Some of us know her, some of us don't, but she's very inspiring. So let us support this event with everything we know. Invite your friend them.
Mhm. Yes, it's really, I know there are a lot of competing activities around that time. I mean, I'm sure there are some Boyz II Men fans that are looking forward to that concert.
Yeah.
However, Ricky Byers' music is really very stimulating. And then we have the University Singers, we have Dwight Richards, we have Harold Davis, and we have our own Ordale.
My dear, I heard him on Sunday evening, and he was awesome.
What a blessing we have been given.
Yes, indeed. So let us support this weekend. You know, I don't know if you know this expression. If you follow, you can't follow my Chinese man open chaperone. If you follow my shop Chinese man open, you wouldn't open none for yourself. So we have to do what we have to do,
Indeed.
regardless of what's happening around us, and we are praying it into success.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And then, on Saturdays, we have this event. If you have questions, legal issues that you want clarification on, there's a legal in-house team that is free of cost, that enables you to sort out those little issues. I myself have benefited from it. I had not a little issue, and I went there one. It was quite simple. I had an idea, but one needed to be told how to navigate the particular thing, and it works. So, legal life on Saturday. Pardon?
If I can add to that,
Okay.
there's an issue that my family is dealing with now regarding the probate of my grandmother's will. I mean, after 25 years. And my sister and I met with a lawyer yesterday to look at the way forward. We took in the documents and so on. And just to see her, just to start the conversation, it was $15,000. Lawyers don't give away their services. So this is a blessing that we have. And we haven't talked retainer yet.
Mhm.
That was another six-figure amount, and then we have to pay her when the matter is settled. So to say that we have, I think, 3 lawyers who rotate their services on a Saturday for free, it's a wonderful blessing, and we need to take advantage of it.
Amen.
By the way, I noticed that there is a couple of treatment requests that have come into the chat. I don't couple from Reverend Ann just now, and from Lilith. I don't know if you want to check them out.
Well, sorry, I don't know how to get into them.
Hold on, Carol. Let me do that for you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. we have requests for divine guidance and protection for Lilith. That's divine guidance and protection.
Yeah.
And divine right action in the lives of Pauline and Denise. Right action in the lives of Pauline and Denise. And if I may just add one more for an absolute successful full house concert on November 8th as our installation launch, so to speak. Yes, so just to see the people coming in and supporting, and the tickets are just sold out in every quarter. All right.
Okay. All right.
So you're going to do that and then come back to the announcements?
What you think? All right, let's go. For Lilith. We affirm in this moment one power, one presence. That power and presence, God, is that which guides us, is that which protects us. It is that which inspires right action in every situation. It is that which enables us to know that there is nothing to fear, that there is only God to know. That God leads us in paths of righteousness for its own name's sake. That leads us beside still waters. That guides our feet, our thoughts, our actions. And so we surrender every anxiety, every concern, every fear, and affirm our oneness with the One, our divine protector, our guide. Our shield. And so I'm knowing now that for everyone, and in particular Lilith at this time, the assurance that God, as our divine protector, our guide, our high tower, is in charge, is in control, is carrying out its perfect work now in our lives and in our affairs. This word I speak is the word of elimination of every concern or fear, and the establishment of that perfect assurance that God is and all is well. And in that assurance, I release this word and accept its fulfillment as Elite's experience now, and the experience of all who are open and receptive to this word. I give thanks now that this is so. And so it is. And I speak now for Pauline and Denise, knowing that as we recognize that power and that presence that is God, that source of all good. We know that it represents now in their life. The lives of Denise and the life of Pauline, and in all our lives. It is that guide that takes us on that perfect path to our good, that which inspires us with the right ideas, that which puts us in contact with the right persons, the right situations, so that there is only one outcome, and it is the right, perfect action. And so I declare now that this is taking place in the lives of Pauline and Denise. The right, perfect action is the experience of each person now in the sound of my voice, and any person who chooses to acknowledge the perfection of God action in their lives at this time. I give thanks now that only good and perfect good is manifesting now in their lives, in their affairs. And I release the word because I know it is even now being manifested. And I give thanks also that this is the truth that I speak. And it is so now. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome. Okay, as the time is running along, is there anything else that we need to speak about that is urgent?
Add to this.
Spoken about the week. Oh, sorry. So we know now, we give thanks. We give thanks that, we give thanks. We give thanks for this celebration that we have ahead of us, that on the weekend of the 8th to the 10th of November, we give thanks that the events that have been planned are indeed activities in the mind of God, fully accomplished. We look forward and know that there is a big, successful, wonderful event that we call a concert. Wonderful entertainers and persons turning out to enjoy themselves. Persons knowing that there is a plate of entertainment awaiting them at the University Chapel. And they come and they partake and they know that it is good and very good. Audience is enthusiastic, participatory, and fully engaged. And each performer is at their utmost, inspired by divine creativity to their fullest expression. And I give thanks for the support that this event gets. I give thanks that it unfolds in perfect divine order beyond our wildest expectations. And so we are gearing up, we're looking forward, and we know God is in charge and all is indeed well. We release this word. We release this word and watch it happen, watch it manifest as our experience on the 8th and the ensuing events on the 9th and the 10th, to the honor and glory of that which desired to express itself on this weekend. Release this word and allow it, God, to unfold in its own way. Give thanks now that all this is so.
And so it is.
So it is. Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Okay, so let's moving on.
So it is.
We've
We
done that.
we
Okay,
have
next week,
next week, Tuesday evening. I'm inviting you all to be present. It's Tuesday, October 15, and it will be the spiritual mind healing service led by practitioner Chima Davidson. Let us be present to support, to listen, to pray with,
Mhm.
and to grow,
Mhm.
because each Tuesday evening event is designed to allow us to gain new perspectives into our growth, the growth of our spiritual life. So looking forward to you all being there. Of course, there is Sunday morning at church, the usual. So now, if you feel moved to support our ministry, please feel free to donate at donate.templeoflightcsl.org. Thank you for your generosity and for always being a beacon of light for the world. We thank you for supporting this ministry. And so we bless the offering by declaring, lovingly I give, joyfully I
others,
receive,
with our fruitful increase and
and
multiply,
multiply.
bless, prosper, and
Prosper
enrich
and enrich
everyone whom you
everyone whom you
touch
touch,
and replenish all of my
all
financial affairs.
everything.
Thank you,
Thank
Father.
you, Father,
And so
and
it is.
so it is.
Mhm.
So I think we now are at the Prayer for Center, the Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community, from which Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and glory forever. And so it is.
So
And
it
so
is.
we say the prayer for our country. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is.
So it is.
And so I thank you all for participating in this evening session. As I said before, I know you could have thought of a million and one other thing to do. I am grateful that you chose to conspire with me this evening. And looking forward to next week with Chima. And let me know end with a closing statement. We give thanks. We give thanks for this moment that we've shared together. We give thanks for the insights that we've gained. We give thanks for answered prayer. We give thanks for our relationships. And we give thanks for our divine heritage, which establishes in us that acknowledgement of our connection with the divine, that we are sons and daughters of the Most High. And so we go forward now into our respective destinations, just simply knowing that the Spirit of truth, the Spirit of God, goes with us, filling us with love, joy, peace, and the willingness to bring our divine self to all our relationships, wherever we go, as we work for a world that works for everyone. We give thanks now that this is so.
So it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Carol.
You're very
Ashe.
welcome.